All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into our last video on the assessment side here, which is the Comprehension Assessment. So go with me to page 26, which is where you'll find the Comprehension Interview. And this is a good thing to give before the actual assessment. It asks some questions about, do you like to read? What languages do you read in? Do you read outside of class? What's the hardest part of reading for you? This also has some other ones of some statements where they have to answer 1 for never and 5 for always. What I would suggest you do before you give that part of the assessment is to give students a little card that has those numbers and what they mean, so they're not having to constantly refer back. But given that comprehension interview, you can learn a lot of good things about the students and their reading habits, and also about what reading strategies they use. So definitely give that part first, and then you can give the actual comprehension assessment. On page 25, you'll find the directions for the comprehension assessment. We're going to give an assessment called the Bader assessment. And what we would do begin again is back at the student's word identification mastery level. And once again, we're going to go back one level before then and start at 5. So there's essentially reading passages, and you can see how these look. We're going to actually be starting on page 31 in just a minute. You'll get a look at those. But just look with me on page 25 at their directions. So before the student actually starts to read these, this is going to measure their silent reading ability, and then you're just going to ask them questions about the passages that they've read. So before they dive into the passage, you'll ask them the assessing and activating background knowledge question that's at the beginning, and then you'll ask them to read the passage and tell the student, when you finished reading, just turn your paper over, and that way I'll know when you're done. And so then you can go ahead and ask them the questions that are at the bottom of the page, the comprehension interpretive questions listed there. So if a student's struggling, they can pick up the paper and they can go back and look. That is okay. That is acceptable. If you see there a number 7. They can go inspect to see if they can find it. And it says to note whether they can scan to find information. So some other good information you can get from giving this assessment. What we're looking for on this one is 75% correct. And you'll see there's a number of questions, but don't panic. We've done the heavy lifting and we have done the math for you. So you can see at the bottom, it'll say 6 or more correct, go on to the next level. 5 or fewer, stop or go back. So non-math folks, we have done the heavy lifting here for you. You don't have to figure out the percentage. Okay, so we're going to start in this particular situation with graded passage 5A, and I'm going to once again bring up the PowerPoint where we can find that, and I'm going to follow along, and I'm going to make check marks here as we go on through when Barbara gives correct answers. The background knowledge question doesn't count for the score. So we could ask that question just to make sure that they've know a little bit about it, but it's not crucial and it doesn't count toward the score, so I'm going to skip it on this particular one. So what I'm going to pretend has happened is that I've asked Barbara the background knowledge question, she's answered it, she's read the passage and turned it over, and I'm going to ask her the comprehension questions. And that's what we're going to assume for each of these that we do. And again, the goal is to see 75% or higher. We'll keep moving until we reach the highest one at which we've reached that point. So Barbara, we're looking at graded passage 5A, which in your packets is on page 31 in your assessment packet. So Barbara, you ready to answer a couple questions about the passage you've read?
Yes.
All right, so here we go. Our first comprehension question there on assessment packet, page 31. What do some people say about reading?
That they used to like to read, but they don't read anymore.
All right. What happened to Carlos one day?
He couldn't read the label on a medicine bottle.
All right. After he got his glasses, what did he buy?
A paperback mystery, a sports magazine, and a newspaper.
Okay. Why did Carlos think that nothing was wrong with his eyes?
His eyes didn't hurt him.
Okay. Why do some people not like to read?
They have problems with their eyes.
Why do some people dislike glasses?
They hurt their eyes.
Okay, they hurt their eyes. Why do some people have window glasses, those clear lenses, instead of actual glass lenses?
They look like the glasses, but don't need to wear them. Or they like to wear the glasses, but they don't need to wear them.
All right. And finally, why would you say reading's a hobby that's enjoyed by people with good eyesight?
Reading is fun and helps you learn stuff.
Okay. All right. So we can see at the bottom that if we had 6 or more correct, we'll go on to the next one, and we can count up and see that we only missed that one question. Why do some people dislike glasses? Because she said they hurt their eyes, but the suggested answer was that they're unattractive. So we had 7 correct on this particular assessment, so we're going to go up a level. We're going to see how she does now on passage 6A. So once again, I'd ask her the background knowledge question, and she would read it. She'd turn the assessment over when she's done, and I'm going to go ahead and start asking her some questions. I'll put a check if they're right, and I'll put an X if they are incorrect. Okay, Barbara, you ready to answer a few more questions?
Yes.
Okay. How do states differ in their age requirements for a driver's license?
Some issue license at 16 and others won't.
All right. Whose consent is needed if an applicant is under 18?
The parent or guardian of the child.
All right. What are 3 requirements that are necessary to get a driver's license?
Skill in driving, knowledge of rules, physically able to drive.
Okay. What's a restricted license?
They took your license.
So you said they took your license away?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point system that they used in some states that they talked about in the passage?
You have to get some points each year to keep your license.
All right. What can happen if you get too many points?
Your license may be suspended or taken away.
Okay. Why is this system helpful, the system about driver's license and all these rules they have?
Keeps people thinking about their responsibility behind the wheel. People don't want to lose their license.
Okay, and how is or why is having your driver's license revoked an inconvenience?
Because you can't do the normal things that you would do if you had a license.
Okay, and why is it important to have only responsible people driving cars?
So people don't get killed by bad drivers.
That's a good reason. Okay, so she did well. We just had a couple of problems there with a restricted license. Didn't get that one because she mentioned they take their license. And the point system, she was saying you need to have a certain number of points in order to keep it, which points are bad. You don't want points. So if we count up our number correct, we can see that in this particular assessment we have 7 correct. And down at the bottom it says 7 or more correct, go to the next level. So we're going to go up now to passage 7A. We're going to keep going. We had that 75% or higher. So once again, for passage 7, I would ask Barbara the prior knowledge question and then have her read it, and she would put it over when she was finished, and then she'd be able to answer these questions. So once again, with the magic of video, we're going to pretend that that has happened. And if you're with me there on page for graded passage 7A or watching here on the PowerPoint, I'm going to ask Barbara these questions. And in this particular one, we can see at the bottom that we need 9 or more right. Each one's going to vary because each passage will have a different number of questions. Typically, the higher the level, the more questions there'll be. So, Barbara, you ready for a few more questions?
Yes.
Okay. Where did Tina apply for a job?
At an office.
Okay. Where did she go when she went to the publishing company?
The personnel office.
All right. What did the receptionist tell Tina to do?
Go to the next room and fill out application form.
On the first page of that application, what information did Tina have to know?
Name, address, and social security number.
Okay. What else was she asked about?
Record of business experience.
Okay. One of the things on the application said reason for separation. What did that mean?
Where are you applying for a job?
Okay. Why was this a problem for Tina?
First, she couldn't understand the question, and then she couldn't explain the reason in such a small space.
Okay. What did that last part of the application ask her for?
Write something about herself.
Okay. Where did she find the addresses?
Looked in the phone book.
And what's she going to do from now on when she applies for a job?
Ask her friends about good places to work.
Okay. And one more question. It says if a box on the form is too small, what might an applicant do to provide more complete information?
Right on the back.
Okay. So in this particular one, let's say we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 correct. Again, wow, we like these 7s. But we needed 9 are correct in order to go on to passage 8. So actually, we did not have mastery at this level. So 6 is going to be our mastery score. We did miss a couple. Reason for separation, she couldn't get that one. The last part of the application asked for reference, and she said asked them to write something about herself. For that first one, it asked where did she apply for a job, and she said at an office, and it was really more specific at the magazine publishing company. And then that last question, what will she do from now on? She said she was going to ask her friends about good places to work. So we do not have mastery at this level, so we are going to stop. And Barbara's saying, whew, I'm thankful that I'm done with all these 42 million assessments you've given me. And we're going to stop there. So 6 was the highest level at which she had 75% or more correct. So we're going to put grade level equivalent 6 here on our reading profile. And we can see her tape score was a 4.3, but see, alphabetic score was at a 6. Fluency are very different levels here. Accuracy and context instructional level was a lot higher than that. Vocabulary and comprehension were around 6. So if we had started her out around grade 4 materials, she would be saying, this has wasted my time. So we can see how important these assessments are to give our students. So this gives you a basic idea. Again, you really won't feel good about doing these assessments until you actually give them to someone. So your assignment here is to choose one of these assessments. You don't have to give all of them, but it would be great if you did. Find somebody around you, a family member, a colleague at work, or preferably a student at your program, and give these assessments to so you have a little bit of experience. These take some time to do, but an experienced assessor can get down to about 45 minutes or so to give all these assessments. It might take you an hour and a half, 2 hours at first, but you'll get better over time with practice. It's worth the time because this really can unlock the key to helping a student really achieve reading mastery by taking the extra time to do this. So I would strongly, strongly encourage to take the time and give these assessments. So Barbara, thank you so much. You've now got the keys to the kingdom. You've got a very powerful tool that you can use to help your students, and you can help them find out where those problems are with reading and really give them now the help and instruction that they need. So we're going to sign off for this last video in the assessment series.